Hello everyone, today we are here with Jason Lasky, an actor, a director, an acting tutor.
Even a voice actor, an audiobook narrator, a playwright, and sometimes a lighting designer. Let's get started. Hello.
Hi, Bella. Hi, Sasha.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Oh.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Okay, so we would like to start the interview with a few trivial questions about your background. So, as far as I know, you graduated from Binghamton University, New York City, in 2006 as a Bachelor of Science and Anthropology, and also a biology minor. So, how did the switch from science to acting happen?
I was studying the sciences, and mostly what I was interested in was actually a lot of dead stuff.
Oh.
And I was moving towards forensic anthropology, which is basically studying bones and trying to understand under
yes.
mysterious circumstances if somebody was murdered or they found a body and
That
or they
sounds
found
very cool, actually.
well, cool, and at the same time really
Disturbing, right?
kind of disturbing, yeah,
Ah.
because unfortunately these things happen and there's somebody who has to solve the case. So I was studying all of that. I was really interested in maybe working for the FBI one day. And then I started noticing the student productions that were happening at Binghamton. And I started going to see my fellow students in plays, and I thought, that looks like fun, and let me go investigate that. So I started taking science class, or continuing to take my science classes, and then I started also taking theater classes. And so I had those different areas kind of overlapping. And what was really fascinating was how the science classes started to inform the acting classes.
Oh, so it like crosses over?
I found
Science
I,
and
I found a lot
science.
of I found a lot of things that were starting to cross over. For example, in my movement class or my voice class, my theater teacher would say, "Okay, picture the spaces between your bones. Like, picture the space between the vertebra, the bones that are in your
Yes,
spine."
the spine bones.
Right. So in the morning, I would go and actually hold human bones in my hand and study them and look at all the
Wow.
different parts and processes and learn all the vocabulary. And then in the afternoon, I would go and hear from my acting teacher, picture the space between your vertebra. And I thought, well, okay, I just was holding it, so I know exactly what it looks like. And so having the science background, it just helped me to understand more of what my acting teachers and movement teachers and voice teachers were suggesting us. It just made it easier for me to actually picture the things because I held them in my hands. So, in that regard, I had a little bit of a advantage over a lot of my peers. And yeah, that knowledge about, for example, all the space that's in your face, for example, all your sinus cavities, big open chambers of space. When my teacher would say, okay, let's talk about filling your sinus cavities. Well, I just was looking at the sinus cavities. So it's very easy for me to understand what you're talking about because I have this knowledge. So science was informing a lot of my artistic explorations.
That's really interesting how both subjects overlap. I
Yeah.
would never expect that to happen.
Yeah.
I, to picture the space between bones
Yeah.
and having held bones
Yeah.
a few hours earlier,
Yeah.
that's actually sounds very interesting.
It was very interesting, very fascinating, and it's knowledge that I carry with me. And so I tell young learners explore and study as many different elements of the world as you can because you're going to start finding connections between different things.
Yeah, I think I've already began to find a few connections between things.
Melodies.
Молодец.
Melodies.
Great.
Uh, is there any other ways that your education in science help you in acting?
Uh, Besides what I said, one of the things that my anthropology teacher, the great Professor Donnie Stedman, if I may name drop her for a moment, one of the great things that she said was that one of the roles of the forensic anthropologist is not just solving the crime, but it's also giving peace of mind to the family members. So, for example, right, there's a mom and a dad and a missing son or daughter, right? And the person discovers the bones, and eventually they figure out it was the son or the daughter. So it's being able to bring a level of humanity and closure to the parents. And so having that sense of sympathy and that sense of empathy, that's something that as an artist, I try to bring into not just my own work, but then the work of my students.
Cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
We
I
can
think so
all
too.
agree on that. Yeah. All right. Speaking of acting
Yeah.
now, do you have any works that, as an actor, are the most important works to you?
The last, I always try to look at my acting as the last project is the best work I've done. So the last big project that I worked on was a TV series. It's called House of Helsing, and basically it's a retelling of Dracula versus Abraham von Helsing, like that classic story that's already hundreds of years old. And what and I by I don't know, by a stroke of luck, there was an actor who was cast in the role, and they began shooting in Armenia, and he had to bow out for whatever reason. And so the producer who I knew called me up and he said, Jason, there's this opportunity. Are you interested? And I said, yeah, that sounds really cool. So in from on a Tuesday, he gave me a phone call, and on Sunday I was getting fitted for costumes. So it was a really delightful 39th birthday present. It came around right around my birthday. And so we celebrated my birthday on a Saturday, and then Sunday I drove to Yerevan. We live in Armenia, me and my family. So I drove, they fit me. And on Monday morning, I was already working. And so I had a very, very short amount of preparation time. And because the preparation was so small, I really had to do my work, my creative work, really, really quickly. And because I'd never been in a TV series before, it was also a new challenge for me. I'd done camera work, but I hadn't done a TV series. And so that whole idea of um, the world of the world of the show, it was a big, I don't know, bucket of ice cold water over me in terms of a wake up call. Like, oh, okay, we got to go to work, and there are certain things that I have to do as an actor to prepare that I really wasn't prepared to do. And so it was sort of like a trial by fire. And then we shot for the next 5 or 6 weeks, and we got through, I think, 6 or 7 episodes out of the 10 that were originally scheduled. And I could say that that was my best work and also my most challenging work to date. I mean, we were shooting 10 or 12-hour days. There were days where I got to set at 5 p.m. and then the big scene, like the big heavy emotional scene, was happening while the sun was coming up at about 5:30 in the morning. And so being able to figure out how am I going to get the energy I need and remember my lines and work with my partner, just figuring all these things out while in a professional situation and under a lot of pressure. Yeah, it was very challenging, but that produced some of, I think, my best work so far. So I'm really proud of that.
Wow, that sounds incredibly challenging. Like, I cannot imagine waking up one day to somebody saying, "Hey, there's an acting opportunity
Yeah,
that you're gonna get.
yeah,
Are you accepting it or not? Because this
yeah,
is your first and last offer."
yeah.
And then you just say, "Oh, ah, sure." And
Yeah,
then you're getting yourself into all of the things that
yeah.
are happening.
But
But it
that's
does sound very entertaining also.
absolutely. But that's my hunger. Like if there's an opportunity and that kind of opportunity doesn't present itself so often, it's like yes, let's do it. And talk with my wife and talk with my kids. Like Daddy has, Jason has an amazing opportunity. Like this is what we're gonna do now. And so yeah, I'm always hungry for those opportunities.
Yeah, that must have been a really good birthday present
It
because
it was funny. I thanked the guy who got me it, my friend Nadik. Nadik said, "Happy birthday to you," and I said, "Best birthday present ever." By the end of the week, I called him and I said, "I hate you for my birthday present," because it was really rough.
it was a it was a good but also rough birthday present.
Good but rough
I
birthday
cannot
present. Yeah.
imagine that in a not I cannot imagine that in a not figurative sense. Like rough birthday present, what would that even mean?
Yeah. Well, it was just because of the acting challenges and the sleep challenges and the time challenges. it was a new world for me, a great new experience, but it took a little bit of me to find my way into doing the project. But, it's okay. In the end, I'm thankful for the opportunity.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you were still thankful for it.
Me too.
I also know that you playwright.
Yes.
How did you discover this talent?
I started writing. I started writing when I was in Binghamton, just because I thought, well, I'm hearing the words of other writers. What can I write that I would like to hear actors say on stage? So it was just messing around, writing whatever, finding some actor friends and saying, "Hey, can you read this for me?" Or reading with my fellow acting students, and that's how it started. But the big discovery about what I would like to do as a writer came. I was studying at Binghamton, and there was an opportunity to study abroad in England at Nottingham University. So I went, and I went to go study more sciences, but I was already interested in the theater, and it turned out that Nottingham didn't have an official theater acting or any kind of training program. So I said, well, maybe there's some kind of student thing happening. And it turned out there's a very famous student run theater at Nottingham University called the New Theater. And I went to the auditions, and I spoke to a few people. I tried out for like 5 or 6 different things. And this lovely guy named Oliver, he liked my audition, and he said, well, we're going to work on a devised piece, devised theater, which means we're going to create it. And so the task is Jason and 3 other actors, 2 of them from England, 1 of them from Hong Kong, who Billy Tsai, who's still based in Hong Kong, is one of my longest friends. And we're now also talking in the last year or two about working on a new project together.
Oh.
Um, it was my first experience working with an international group of actors and getting to write our own material. And so that was when I said, ooh, this is really, really, really cool. So that was my first big taste of writing. And we created something called the Sideshow. And the Sideshow was based on um, American carnivals from the turn of the 20th century, and looking into what does it mean when you call somebody a freak. Like, who is freakier, the person who's their hand is a little bit like this, or the person who's behaving not so nicely to the person who has their hand like this. So we were exploring that concept.
Oh, well, that does sound like a very interesting and like a concept that can be talked about for hours on end.
Absolutely.
But I wanted to also ask, it's based off of American carnivals.
Yeah.
I don't exactly know what kind of American carnivals there are, like parades or things like
Well,
that.
there's a place called, if I'm not mistaken, historically there in New York City, there's a place called Coney Island, and one of the major elements of Coney Island's history is the freak show. So people who were born with birth defects and couldn't find a regular job, for example, lobster boy. There's a certain kind of birth defect, let's say, where somebody is born where they're missing most of their hand, and so they only have those fingers, and the same on this side. And so their only major option for kind of work is to be a sideshow freak. And so the bearded lady, the very, very tall man, the guy with the alligator skin, the tattoo woman, the bearded, all these different freaks, that's where they were able to find a sense of community and have a career. Siamese twins also, conjoined twins at birth. There was a I don't know, a fascination with different looking and differently formed people. And so that's where it was born. And yeah, there were traveling circuses also. Like they would go around the country, like see the freak show, roll up, check out the freaks, and that's what we were exploring in the concept in the play.
That sounds like a very, I don't know. I've used the word interesting so many
You have,
times,
yeah.
but it does sound really interesting. I'm not just using it.
No, sure.
Yeah.
No.
It sounds very thrilling. That's the word. Yes, I can use that too.
It was thrilling, and it was like I said, my first taste of working with an international group of artists, creating original work, and that's what really got me going in terms of, okay, I think I'd like to be a writer in addition to an actor.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I have one more question right
Sure.
now. So, as a Russian person, I've read a fellow Russian person's feedback on one of your plays called At the Hospital.
Uh-huh.
Well, I've also heard it can be called At the Больница.
At the Balnitsa.
Yeah. And it basically states what you think there are problems with the Russian hospital and how it differs from American hospitals. So, what
Okay.
exactly are those? Can we know?
Uh, Let me give you some context. At the Balnitsa was written based on a singular experience, one event. My wife Svetlana, who's Russian, right? We met in China, by the way,
Oh.
and we got married in Thailand, and then we had some other ceremonies in Russia and China as well. And she was pregnant with our daughter Crystal, and we were in Moscow, and she wasn't feeling so well, so we had to go to the hospital. And so that it wasn't I wouldn't say that it was a criticism of like the Russian hospital system, but it was certainly a very strange evening of how I was in the waiting room and just what kind of world I entered with my wife, with my very pregnant wife, and how she, went to the room. The lady with the purple hair who had been in the ambulance with us was taking care of her. It was just a very surreal, strange experience for me at that time. So I wouldn't say it was a comment about anything. It was or criticism. It was just more of a what is going on right now.
Oh,
It's
more
a
of like
world
that you've never seen a Russian
exactly.
hospital and you're like, what on earth is going on?
What's
Why are
going
we
on?
getting taken by an ambulance to the hospital? What's
Like
yeah.
what like these green walls and what's that smell? And the person who's
Yes.
over there who's saying calling for the number of the person calling like okay patient number 5, patient number 6, like somebody in the waiting room who was also there for some kind of emergency. We were in the emergency room in some
Oh,
Russian hospital in Moscow, and yeah, it was just a very surreal experience, but also very I found it to be a very funny experience, which I try to put into the writing. Yeah. I
oh
like that
yes.
play. I haven't thought about that play in a long time. At the Balnitsa. Yeah, it's fun.
Well, the Bonita play sounds like a great play. I must check it out very soon.
Please do.
Okay.
I'll have to read it now.
Right now?
Yeah,
After the interview.
of course.
Yes.
Not right on the interview because how about we
Maybe
find
this
the play?
weekend, okay?
Probably, yeah. Tomorrow, because tomorrow's the weekend.
Tomorrow's the weekend. Yeah.
I also know that when you were interviewed 8 years ago during your stay in Murmansk, you told about your dream of writing a play about polar night
Mhm.
called 40 Days of Night.
Yeah.
Could you tell us more about this project?
About the project? So, Svetlana and I and baby Crystal were in Shanghai, and I was doing some teaching. And Sveta, one night, she had an idea. Wouldn't it be cool to write a play in the coldest place in the world, and then write a second play on maybe the hottest place in the world? I said, yeah, okay, that's cool. And we started developing that idea, and she said, well, the one of the largest, most inhabited cities and coldest cities in the world is actually my hometown of Murmansk. And why don't we look at, are there any opportunities out there for us to maybe get some money to go, do this project, win a grant or something? So we looked around, we talked to a few people, we applied for 2 grants. One of them we didn't get, and one of them we did get. And
Oh.
so and the idea was, let's go to Murmansk during polar night. Let's have conversations with local artists. Let's see if we can teach them some acting ideas from New York, where I had already been studying. Let's see if they have something that we can learn from them. Let's exchange ideas about travel and the world with the locals. And let's do a lot of research and make a play about our experiences. And that's what we put forth. And Theater Communications Group, TCG, which is America's national theater organization, they said, here's money to go do your project. And so we went and experienced Polar Night. And we didn't go there. Um, we called it 40 Days of Night because Polar Night lasts roughly for 40 days, right?
Ah,
And so that project is actually still 8 years, 9 years later, still evolving. It hasn't been completed yet. I'm hoping actually this year we'll actually see the writing and at least a reading of the play. But yeah, that's the state of that particular play. But that was a very cool experience. I saw the animation in the sky, the
oh
aurora
yes, Northern
borealis,
Lights,
the polar
right?
lights. There were a few occasions where we got to see them, and it was just magical. It's just watching, I don't know, watching like a little bit of light, and then it just kind of grows, and then it changes, it goes into something else, and changes into something else, and just watching, going, wow. And meeting the people, meeting the artists who live there full time, it left a big impression. And yeah, Sveta and I were very interested in seeing that project come to light. Okay.
I'll have to do so many things after this interview.
Please read my play and then go to Murmansk and go look at the Polar Night right now.
Yes,
You have your weekend plan.
we're putting that onto our to-do list for life.
There you
Yes.
go. It's on the itinerary.
Activities to do.
Yeah.
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 Anyways, I've got a question.
Okay.
So let me just. There is also there
We'll
is
cut that
lots.
out.
Yes. Yeah. There is lots of positive feedback about you as an acting tutor,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And some students that you've taught have said that you've brought a light into their life of being on the stage and playing.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, you use the what was it called? Sorry, Meisner method, which I am completely unfamiliar with. So
Okay.
could you please let us get to know this method a bit more because I'm interested.
Okay. So it's called the Meisner technique. Excuse
Sorry.
me for correcting you.
It's fine.
It's the Meisner technique, which was born over the course of about 60 or so years, between 1930, something, up until about 1997, when Sanford Meisner passed away. Essentially, the technique is about putting all of my attention, 100% of my attention, on my partner, not about me, all about you, and all about you, and all about all of you over there. And giving all of that attention to my partner is going to inform our relationship, and it'll be the foundation for having a strong connection with my partner. And that's not just for acting, that's for real life.
So that can be applied in real life too.
Absolutely.
Like in if
Can I give you a little
okay.
insight into it?
Yes.
All right. So just now I saw that you were trying to find the words and trying to understand, like,
I was.
what am I going to say next, right? Okay. And I can see, look, for example, okay, you licked your lips. All right, you smiled. Yeah, you smiled, okay, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you smiled, you nodded your head. I see that you nodded your head, right? So I'm making observations about my partner, okay? I start with the
Yes.
physical, right? And I'm trying to start with the physical and then get deeper into your emotional state. So I take what I see and then I draw a conclusion about it. And my partner can either confirm or deny what my conclusion is, what my opinion is about you. And that's like the beginning of the technique. And what that leads to is being able to read behavior, being able to understand what's going on with somebody else.
It's actually a very interesting thing. Like, if someone cannot read behaviors really well, he or she should try the Meisner technique.
Yeah.
Technique.
You got
yes.
it.
I got it. And for example, you are sitting and smiling, and now you are looking at me, and now you are moving to look closer at me, and you are staring. Okay, now you moved away.
Now, what I saw was he was playing with you. Were you playing with her? A little bit? A little bit, right? Okay. So I can see also the dynamic between the two of you, and I can understand, what's the nature of their relationship. And I can see that the two of you are, you play together. Have you met before today?
We really rarely meet, like
Yes.
Really, really. But you have some
once in 10 years.
once in 10.
Once in 10 years.
Okay, all right.
Yes, very, very often. That's so often. That's wow. I think we need to meet up less. The sarcasm is on point. Anyways.
It is, yeah. Well done.
Yeah. Can I ask, is it possible to demonstrate some basics of the Meisner technique? Oh, you already did it.
Ah. Yeah. So right.
Yes,
So there,
so
you know, and you know what that was? You
That was comprehension.
well, you had a plan in front of you about what you wanted to talk about, and I
Yeah.
kind of went ahead of the plan, and then you just listened to yourself, so now you're aware of, you made a little whoop right there,
Yeah,
and
a
that's
little
okay, right? It's fun, right?
Yes,
It's okay.
making mistakes is fine.
But there are no mistakes,
Yes.
and that's for me as a teacher. That's one of my maxims
Mhm.
that there are no mistakes. They're just things that happen, and if we can accept that, then we can let go of any kind of idea that we're doing something wrong.
Hmm.
Of course, if you start beating him over the head, I'm gonna stop you, right? And that's
No,
violence
I
against
won't
your
do
butt.
that. I swear.
You swear?
Yes.
Okay. I hope
I don't think I'm hitting anyone.
you don't think you're hitting him.
No,
Right now,
well,
you're not hitting him.
If
He's
in
getting
any
no, no, no,
I'll test that.
no. No, you won't.
I can test it too.
But just from me as I think what people like about me as a teacher is that I never say that you've done something wrong.
Ah,
I've never said that you made a mistake.
so
What
you
I
never
do,
scold anyone, right?
sorry, the
So
what?
you never scold anyone for.
I never scold anybody. I'm always there to support. And if somebody doesn't understand something, I'm there as a teacher to help them to understand. So my role is to increase their awareness and increase their ability to be proficient in the technique. And the technique leads to being proficient in understanding other people and making squeaking noises.
Who? Was that you?
It was not me. No.
Oh, okay.
I'm here. I did not do that.
Well, that's obvious.
But that's a little bit about me as a teacher, a little bit about the Meisner technique.
Okay, well, that's great to know.
I also know that you use juggling as a part of your training.
I do. Well,
How
there's an element.
how does this relate to acting?
Juggling. I use I'll use the word illusion, not illusion, like magic, like I'm gonna
Ah,
show you something that's not real, but an illusion, Allusion. I use the illusion of juggling and many balls being thrown in the air as a way of understanding what life is like. Because when you have so many balls flying in the air at any given time, it's hard to keep track of everything, and yet that's what we have to do. We have to take care of our job, and we have to take care of our mom and our dad and our partner and our sister and our brother and our boys and our pets, right? We have so many
everything
things
going
going on at any time. So I like to use juggling as a point of reference for life, essentially.
oh,
But there's just so much going on that I have to keep doing this and this and this. Oh, now something's going to come in here. Now it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But but that's how life is. You get older, and there's more things you have to be aware of and consider.
yeah, you need to be aware of everything that adults do and everything that's happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, so whenever you grow older, the more balls there is
Yeah.
in your hands, and
Yeah.
you're moving them
Yeah.
everywhere.
And as you get older, it just happens. But nobody ever really tells you what's going to happen or how it's going to happen. So there's that unexpected, if somebody throws another ball at me, like, oh, am I going to be able to deal with that? Maybe not. Maybe I need
Yes,
to
probably.
spend more time with that in order to make things smooth.
Yeah, probably all the balls will fall,
It might.
and then you will need to start over and
Yeah.
grab the balls
That's
again
right.
and
That's right.
begin to throw them in the air.
That's right.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And
Juggling is life.
juggling is love, juggling is life, juggling is everything.
And also there's once you start really getting into like the flow of juggling, or there's the flow of anything, there's a whole idea very briefly about flow as a state of being. So like when, for example, I'm writing a play, and maybe on a Monday I'm having trouble getting the words out for whatever reason, but on Tuesday I sit and I just like, oh, I can write my play, oh, and I can have a little drink, oh, I can talk to my wife, I can do this, and it's just coming out of me very easily and very organically and very smoothly. Again, that's a nice idea that's also related to juggling. Once I've gotten it, it's like I can just do this all day, no problem.
Well,
Nothing's
yeah,
gonna stop me.
that happens to me too.
Yeah.
Like I guess it happens to everyone
Yeah.
who has a specific interest in doing something.
Yeah.
Like for example, I could be drawing on, let's say, Thursday, for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
and nothing is coming out of my hands and
Right.
nothing is coming into my brain, and
Yeah.
then I say, "What am I doing? How about I stop now?"
Yeah.
And then on the next day, maybe on Saturday or Friday, I begin to draw, and I'm like, "Wow, this is surprisingly easy.
Yeah.
I don't understand why I wasn't doing this yesterday or the day before yesterday. I
But-
can talk to my friends.
but today
I
it's
can
just
go and
here.
talk to my family. I can do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A wonderful thing.
It
Nice.
is.
It's a nice feeling.
Yes.
And then midnight hits, the day change, and everything falls apart.
All the balls just fall.
Every-
Right. Exactly.
All the balls fall to the ground.
Right.
And turn
I need
into
to
pumpkins.
pick-
And you turn into pumpkins, and
Yeah.
then then you get hungry, so you have a pumpkin for a midnight snack.
Let's eat them. Eating the balls. Anyways, speaking of juggling,
Yeah.
I was about to say jungling.
You could, and it would have been okay.
There's an opinion that juggling is actually very beneficial for brain development.
Yes.
And Sasha does juggling, and that is very obvious since he's very brainy, and you can tell that that is a proof
Yeah.
from all his achievements that he has gotten in programming.
Hmm.
And what is your opinion on this? Do you think it increases motor skills and like?
Yeah, juggling. There have been several studies over the last 20 or 25 years about the benefits of juggling in terms of exactly that brain development and concentration and things of that nature. So, yeah, I think everybody should try to learn how to juggle and
Yeah.
then stick with it.
I've tried to learn how to juggle with like 2 bottles of soap,
There we
and
go.
then I was throwing the soap around,
Yeah.
and I got into like a time where I did like 10 consecutive loops of it, and it worked very well
Okay.
for me. But then everything fell apart, and I needed to start over. It was a cool process. Yeah.
Sweet.
Let's practice juggling right here, right now.
Okay.
Whoa. I'm sad. No, this is not fair. Wow. You're good at catching balls.
So, at
Lots of
zero,
practice.
or throw with your right hand and
Okay, so to be
switch
clear, I'm going to go right to your right, or I'm going to go right to your left.
to my left.
Okay.
So like a rectangle.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Let's try that
Everything
again.
fell apart.
3, 2, 1, 0.
This is very entertaining to watch.
Time lapse.
Whoa. The balls went flying.
Okay. Now let's.
Should I toss to you and you're going to...
Yes, let's try. I think.
Whoa.
Add timing on my part. Let's try again. Okay. There we
Oh.
go.
No.
No. Hard to
One
do
second.
sitting.
Still, you're surprisingly good at this.
He's been practicing.
So 1.
Oh. Whoa. You're so good at managing the balls. Whoa.
Try to throw me a ball.
How many?
What?
How many? 1 or 2?
Oh, 1.
Oh.
Wait, wait,
Oh.
wait.
What about
Can
that?
you throw me the last one?
You're gonna be. Oh my god.
No.
Oh, that was pretty... You got one. You got one.
Here it is.
This video is just me juggling now.
This, yeah. You're the star of the show now. You stole us. Whoa. I have to admit,
Wait.
this is actually very impressive. Oh.
Safety.
You are very good at managing. So, Jason, what I understand about you is that you're always open for trying out new things and basically open to
Yes.
yeah. And we were wondering if we could share some of our skills with you.
Sure.
Okay, great. Well, I would like to firstly say I can teach you about Russian folk singing. I already mentioned that I do so. And if you're interested, I can do it. So here, the key to success is diaphragm breathing. So basically, take a deep breath in. It's very important to do it like with your nose.
Okay.
Like fill your lungs with air. You have everything filled in your lungs, and your abdomen will also expand when you do that. And when you exhale, your abdomen should go back in again. So let me demonstrate what I can do with that fundamental thing.
Okay.
Широкая наша улица, ох, травою она заросла. That's all I'm doing for now. Thank you very much.
Okay, so because we're sharing skills with you, I would like to teach you a sound from beatboxing. I do beatboxing.
Wow.
And, I know one cool sound that everyone gets surprised when I do it. It's
How are you doing that?
it's like a Russian r, but while inhaling, so backwards. Try
So-
to do that. Exactly. No, not that deep, or like r, but the tongue is a little bit like 1 centimeter deeper into the mouth, the tip of the tongue, and you inhale. So like.
I'm having. My tongue is just. My tongue
Oh,
is hitting
not
the
like
And you
the punching
accidentally
bag.
eat your tongue.
I
Like.
mean,
Imagine.
but I can do this.
You can whistle.
I can.
Oh.
I can also roll my tongue.
Oh, me too. I can do the thing where your tongue turns into.
Oh, go ahead.
I kind of forgot how
Like
to
this
do
one?
it. I haven't. Yeah, like that, but.
I also can turn it upside down.
Go ahead.
Oh.
That will come in handy one day.
I have a long tongue, physically and
Mentally?
Yeah, and metaphorically. Too.
metaphorically, yes.
Cool. Hey, use what you have.
Yes.
We have what we all have.
Also, I sometimes make a sound. For me, at least, it sounds like a motorcycle. Like.
Oh, you do sound like a motorcycle.
Now, for kind of like sound effects like that, yeah. For voice acting,
You can be a voice
that's-
effect.
It's beautiful to have that kind of those things available to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, beatboxing is just fun.
Yeah, it is.
It does sound very fun.
So, Jason, thank you for being here.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you
Sasha.
again.
1 second, like in the
Thank you,
intro.
Bella.
Yeah.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me. Lovely to spend some time with you and chat with you.
It was lovely to
Yeah.
spend time with you too.
Cool. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
See you.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.
There they go.